All right, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Channable Ball Ads Launch 2024. I am super excited to be here, not only because I'm your moderator, and you are looking awesome, by the way. Some really cool, diverse e-commerce crowd here. But I'm also a member of the Channable family. My name is Draxl. I'm leading the product marketing teams here. And I can tell, because my team was part of that launch as well, we are really in for something special today. Before I came on stage, actually, somebody told me that we're not only a Dutch audience here, but apparently also some international clients. Is that true? Is there anybody not from the Netherlands? Yes. Like, where are you from, sir? Belgium. Welcome. Well, I could have guessed that. Okay, you got me there. I could have guessed that. But super nice that you're here. May I ask what you're doing? Are you from an agency or from a retailer? Retailer. What's the name of the retailer? Akaza. So please make sure that you connect with our Belgian friend from Akaza over there later on. Anybody else? International, Belgium, Germany? Yes? Where are you from? Germany as well. Nice. You drove all the way by car, I assume. Nice. Amazing that you're here. Thank you so much. So we have a Belgian friend, a German friend. It's getting more international by the minute. So that's really cool. Anyway, as you might have guessed, based on the title of the event, or maybe you had a sneak peek on the agenda, we are not doing this here alone. We have our very valued platform partner, Bol Marketplace, with us. So also hi and welcome to the Bol team. I don't know really where they are in the audience. They are somewhere. Super cool that you are here with us. Because actually some of you might know, or maybe not, but Bol, the Bol API, was our very first marketplace connection from Channable. And that was already 10 years ago. So actually our partnership goes all the way back to the beginning of Channable. But of course, the partnership has grown over the years, and we are now a very valued gold partner, which we're super happy about as well. But the Bol Marketplace API is still one of the most used and requested APIs in Channable. And I was asking yesterday the product management team to maybe give me some stats for you just to realize how big is Bol and Channable together. And the numbers really blew me away. So this is not a joke. We are currently managing means customer via Channable, 27 million products on the Bol platform for Belgium and the Netherlands. So that's quite amazing. Our Bol repricer generates over 50 million price changes per day on Bol. Or the last one is also really good. In the last 90 days alone, through Channable, there were orders in the value of over 100 million euros. So that is actually quite something. And I'm not saying this to brag. Well, actually, I am saying this to brag, but in a very good way, because I think it just shows that how deep and fundamental the partnership is actually with Bol. But it was this year, or actually the last 1.5 years, where I think we could take our partnership to the next level. Because we had the pleasure and the great opportunity to work with the Bol development team on their new API environment for ads. And in turn, our own product development team was developing Bol ad solution for Channable with the Bol team. And I can really proudly say that we are the first integrator that is actually launching a product from scratch on this new API. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what we want to celebrate with all of you here, all our customers, all our partners, even all our Channable employees. That's what we are here for. And when I say celebrate, I don't just mean drinks, cheers, high fives. That we have too, a bit later. But we also have a really cool lineup of speakers that introduce you our Bol ad solution and the new Bol API for you. And you might get some very interesting insights that you were not able to get probably anywhere else except here today. And that brings me to our agenda very quickly. So we are starting things off with Yasmin, Kuyper, and Pauline Roos from the retail media team from Bol. They will tell you everything about the sponsored, like the new sponsored product solution actually on their new API. And they will tell you everything about the new API, the changes, the improvements, and so on. Then we are followed by our very own Thomas Philip-Bashar, the product manager for Bol ads at Channable. And he will, of course, talk about our solution, Bol automation, Bol campaign automation, Bol optimization of those campaigns, full of best practices, use cases, and so on. So really looking forward to this one. Then we have a little break, not too long, about 10 minutes. That should give you time, hopefully, to get another round of refreshments and also go to the restroom. And by the way, the restroom, if you go in there, there is a large red button, and there's something happening if you press it. So I kind of just invite you to dare to press that red button there. But we also need that break to rearrange a little bit the stage here, because after the break, we have the actual live launch moment with our development team. And I'm not going to tell too much because it's really cool what's happening there, but as of this moment, Bol Ads is live in the tool for you to test and to try out and to have fun with it. But we're not even done then. We have at the very end also a Q&A with all our speakers and with one of our beta testers. Amazing Agency, Ronan will join us. And Amazing Agency, I love that name, by the way, Amazing Agency. They are part of Tomorrowman, and they have solidly tested our Bol Ad solution, and we are very curious to hear about their experience as well. And of course, the Q&A also gives you the chance to ask questions. We got many questions up front, but we will have a microphone, so you can take out your notebooks and write up questions during the presentations as well. All right, now, before we kick off this agenda, two last things that I wanted to mention. First of all, we have some really cool people here in the room, and just for you to know who is all around and who you can network with. First of all, we have our product development team here that was working on the Bol Ad solution. I don't know where they are, probably somewhere in the back. No, they're in the audience. Okay, perfect. Right where you belong, guys. If you have any technical questions about our Bol Ad solution, you can connect to those gentlemen over there. We also have, of course, our Bol team is here, apart from Yasmin and Pauline, our speakers. We also have Marinus Snyman is here from the development team. Super nice that you are here. Martin Finkenflügel and Jonne Damen, both are technical account managers. So if you have any questions about Bol, those are your guys to ask. We also have Stefan Hospes, co-founder, chief product officer, is here over there. Super nice that you can join, and our CFO, Mathieu Vergier, is here as well. So all I want to say is we have a cool crowd here. Please connect with us, give us feedback, input, or whatever else like you want to tell us. That's also one of the purpose why we are here. All right, and one quick note before we start. We are recording all of this, and of course the slides we will send to you after this presentation, so there is no need to take pictures, or sometimes we might have a product screen that maybe it's a bit hard to read. Don't worry, we got you covered. You will get everything afterwards. All right, but I think that's enough from my side for now. It is time to get the show on the road, and I would like to start with Yasmin Kuyper and Pauline Roos from the retail media team at Bol. They will tell you everything about the new sponsored product solution on the new API and about the API themselves. So, ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for Yasmin and Pauline.
So, good afternoon, everyone. Really good to see you all here in this wonderful event. And also, Channable, thanks for the invite, so that we can speak to all of you about our new sponsored products solution. So I want to start with a sentence that I kind of borrowed from Google, and maybe you are already aware of it. But we know that the best place to hide a secret is on page 2 of our Bol search results. Yeah, and why are we saying that? Well, when we look at the numbers, we do see that 80% of all the clicks on our website are coming from the page 1. That's impressive. And we know then that 20% is for all the other pages that we do have and that are live on the different categories. And it's even getting better, because 60% of all those clicks are coming from the first 10 positions of the first page. So it is really important to be there. And we are going to tell you how you can be visible on the page 1, to be visible when you need to be, but also to increase your sales, of course. So my name is Yasmin, and I'm a retail media manager within Bol Retail Media, but I'm not alone today, and I also brought my colleague Pauline.
Yes, hi, I'm Pauline, and I'm a campaign specialist of sponsor products at Bol.
Yeah, so and what I just said is that it's really important to be visible on that page 1. And that is one of the benefits of our sponsor products environment, and that didn't change, of course. You can still improve your competitive position, and it's also a possibility to enlarge your client reach, to reach new clients and to point them to your products. Besides that, it's also a good way to improve your organic results, or organic positions, I need to say. Because with sponsor products, you can increase your product visits, and that means that hopefully you will get more sales and also more reviews out of that. And those 3 things are really important for your organic position. And of course, it is really important, and it can be very, very helpful for increasing your revenue. And that's what we all want, right? So, maybe Pauline, you can tell them more about why did we choose to build our own new environment.
Yeah, definitely. So we started out 9 years ago with sponsor products and had a lot of developments happening since then. But we wanted to be able to better and faster implement the feedback that we receive from you. So therefore we decided to build our own environment so that we can continuously innovate and use your feedback. So yeah, that's why.
Yeah, quite impressive. There are some changes that we made during that change. So we have some big changes for the new environment, but don't worry, we will tell you all about it. And Pauline will now tell you in depth what those 4 big changes mean for you as an advertiser.
Yes. Yeah, so the first big change is the simplified campaign setup. So in the old environment, you had 5 types of campaigns. In the new environment, there are actually 2. So there's only automatic campaigns and only manual campaigns. So the partial automatic and partial manual campaigns are no longer there, but we'll guide you through the whole process of how to make best use of that. And then also something that is new is that the manual campaigns now are targeted per placement instead of per product. And that is because we really saw that targeting per placement, the placements can really vary. So therefore you might want to have to better optimize based on those placements. The second change has to do with the algorithm. So with the new environment, or our own environment, there also comes our own algorithm. And the core of the algorithm stays the same. So it's based on relevancy and bids to determine what your product ranking is. But there are some changes within the algorithm that make it a bit different. I will not go into a lot of depth about this, but the main changes are that we now have more data points because we can use first-party data. And the other change is that we now have better targeting on web versus app in the algorithm. So we can show even more relevant ads to our customers. And that means that with the same settings in the old environment, you still have new results, different results in the new environment. So therefore, we really advise you to see it as a new environment where you can really learn and optimize so you can better get the most out of sponsor products. And we also would like to keep you in mind that sponsor products is not a static tool. So we are always innovating, but also your competitors are always optimizing their campaigns. So therefore, it's important to really keep monitoring your results and optimize them as well. And we will guide you how to do that. And the third big change has to do with the way that we show results. We received some feedback from you that you would like to see different metrics sometimes, and we implemented this. So the first one is about how we show you the revenue. We heard that it was better to show this without VAT, so we implemented this, but therefore it might be that the revenue may appear lower in the new environment. However, the ACOS is a ratio of costs and revenue. So therefore also the ACOS might appear a bit higher in the new environment. So important to know that if you see the same ACOS in the new environment, you actually have a better cost to revenue ratio. The other thing that has changed has to do with the attribution model. So that means how we attribute sales to clicks and whether sales are organic or sponsored. And actually this attribution model has 3 rules. And we deleted the last rule, so the 3rd rule. And that means that when you have some products in the same campaign, but they're from different categories, that they are no longer attributed to each other. And that means that it's even more important right now to restructure your campaigns based on these categories, so that you can even better monitor your results. And the last change has to do with the date that we attribute the conversion to. So before we had the conversion and we attributed to the date of the conversion, but now we attribute it to the date of the click. So that means when you have some historical data, you can still get added new conversions to that data. So if you have some campaigns running in the first few days and they aren't running optimally yet, it could be that the conversions get added later on. So these all also make sure that you have different results, and that's important to keep in mind. Yeah, and the last change has to do with the reason that we're here, of course, because of the new API. I will not go into way of depth with this, but now, just like you heard, we have a partnership right now, and these are some of the benefits that Channable will talk about later.
Yeah, so with the biggest changes that also maybe has to do with the tips and tricks that we do have for you to be visible on that page 1 again. So maybe, Pauline, we can give them a few tips and tricks to be visible on that page 1 because it's so important to be there. So maybe you can help them out.
Yeah, good idea. First, there are a few things that we would advise you to do. So the first thing is to optimize your budget. And there are 3 ways you can do this. You have an account limit. You can optimize this, so it's not mandatory to have one. But if you choose to have an account limit, it's important to monitor it because once you reach it, the ads will stop delivering, of course. The campaign limit works the same as the account limit, but then it is for a specific campaign and not for the whole account. And the last thing is the daily limit. And this is also an important one to monitor when you install this. And this is what we made easier in the new environment. So here on the screen, you can see the red line is the cost line, and the green line is the daily limit line. And in the first graph, you see that the daily limit never has been reached, so that's sufficient. But in the second picture, you see that every day the daily limit gets reached. So therefore, I would advise to increase the daily limit a bit. The second optimizing has to do with the ACOS. And I will first look at the automatic campaigns, because here you optimize the ACOS based on the target ACOS. So what you can see in this example here in the red box is that you have one campaign that is a bit below the target ACOS and one above. So if you would like to increase your profitability, the second campaign, you could exclude some of the placements that are not working out quite well, that have a pretty high ACOS maybe, or target or decrease your whole target ACOS. But if you want to increase your visibility and you are below the target ACOS, it might help to increase the daily limit or increase the target ACOS to make sure that you're even more visible. And it's important to keep in mind that the target ACOS is a guideline, so that's why you see that some numbers are below or above the target. But yeah, that's important to keep in mind. And we now also have on the partner and supplier platform, we have the ACOS calculator. So there you can see what your ACOS could be according to your margins, your costs. So then you know how to determine the target ACOS. But then, of course, you also have manual campaigns where you can also optimize the ACOS. And here you're more in control because you can bid per placement. And this has also a useful tool, the average winning bid, where you can actually see what your competitors are bidding and if you need to also increase your bids or not. Here you can see that this campaign has quite low ACOSs and also is fairly under the average winning bid. So here, if you want to increase visibility, it might be wise to increase your bids a bit. But the other way around, when you want to be more profitable, you might want to decrease them. And then lastly, you can also optimize your items. So there are a few things that we would advise here. So the first thing is to split up your campaigns per category. And we already explained why that was important. But you also, it's also important to have the campaign running for a few weeks. So the algorithm really needs time to learn and be able to optimize these items. So give it some time before you really start optimizing. And then thirdly, we talked about conversion and ACOS. But there are some other metrics that are also quite important to see how your products are doing. For example, the conversion rate or the CTR. These are metrics that also give away something about something else than sponsored products. So it could be if you have, for example, a low conversion rate or CTR, that you might need to do something about your content or your price or delivery time, for example. So if your product is not running really well, you can look if these metrics are up to par or not. Yeah, so when do you exclude an item? It really depends, of course, but yeah, if you have been running the item for a few weeks, have been optimizing, and you also maybe see that the CTR and conversion rate are low, then you might want to exclude the item. And then also, if you want to have more insight into your results, there are some reports that you can download. Some were already in the old environment, like the results per product or the results per campaign. But we also added some new reports. So the reports per placement, that's new. And here you can also see the impression share. So then you can see what percentage of impressions within the category goes to your product. So you can really see how you're doing compared to your competitors. Also, we have now an attribution report where you can really see what the balance is between your organic sales and your sponsored sales, which can be quite useful. And lastly, the bidding reports. So then you can see how many bids you've participated in and how many bids you've actually won.
Yeah, so you heard a lot of new things that are that we already made in the last few months, or I would say years. But there's a lot to come because we are constantly optimizing our environment, and we also build a page to follow that. So you can go to, you can use this QR code, or you can go to the supplier or partner platform, and then you can go to the innovation page, and you will see what innovations are coming. And of course, you are hopefully as enthusiastic about this as I am. There are a few already on the screen that are coming up in the upcoming weeks or months. But yeah, I would really recommend to follow that page to see what is coming in the upcoming months, and hopefully, yeah, it will help you to improve your sponsored products campaigns. So we would like to thank you for your attention. Yeah, we will be back in a few, I would say, in a few minutes or an hour or so. I don't know what time for Q&A. So if you have any questions, please ask them there.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Well done, by the way. Really a lot of nice insights. And also a lot of improvements, especially on the reporting side and the analytics side. Yeah. Wow, that is really something. Now, you just, by the way, you just launched the API yesterday. Is that true? I forgot to mention this, but it's basically double celebration here, I would say.
Definitely.
So that is really nice. Now, I heard already some of you asking the question, because we are all, I hope, like marketeers, and also within our own marketing department, the results are always quite important, right? The result history and so on. How does this look like with the new environment? So what will happen with the results, and can you take them with you, or will there be an automatic transition? How does this work?
Yeah, good question. So before last week, we actually migrated all the campaigns automatically. So they are already live since last week. But the results, unfortunately, are not transferred. And that's because, the results are so different in the new environment that you can't really compare. Yeah. But you can retrieve the results from the old environment until November. So if you want to have that data, then you can download it now still.
Yeah, so D-Day is November for everybody to make some notes. Okay, thank you so much. And I see you indeed later at the Q&A in about, I would say, 45 minutes. So you were right with your suggestion of an hour. Thank you. Yasmin and Pauline, ladies and gentlemen. All right. right, and without any delay, we're coming to our next speaker. It's a very dear colleague of mine from the product management team, Thomas Philip-Bashar, and he was the product manager for our Ball Ads solution. And he will tell you everything about, well, I said it already a couple of times, Ball automation and optimization in Channable. So please give it up one more time for Thomas.
Okay. Hi everyone, thank you for coming. Quickly just skip through our intro slides here. So today I want to talk to you about how Channable actually enables you to be successful while selling on Ball. So to explain that, first I just want to introduce the problem that we've discovered when talking to you, our clients. And the problem basically lies when managing these campaigns that you set up, it can be very costly in terms of time and also resources. So I actually spoke to a client that is a smartphone accessory customer. And what he said to me is, Tom, I sell thousands and thousands of products for smartphone accessories, and I've probably got over 100 campaigns set up, and managing them is just too time consuming. It takes me ages to do it, and then when I look for a spreadsheet, I have to create another action. That leads to another campaign, and before I know it, I have multiple campaigns, and the process just gets even worse. So what we've seen in our beta test that we've been running for the last couple of months is that we've actually able to alleviate this problem, which is amazing. So the question is, how have we done that? So what we've done is we've created a product that enables you to easily create and automate profitable ads, but at scale. And one of the ways that we've done this is with our new feature called automation rules. So for those in the audience that know our rule set, but also our Google solution, we now have a shiny new toy called Automation Rules, which allows you to manage your keywords. So quickly just going back to why we actually decided to do this. So one of the reasons is because of you guys. So what we heard is, okay, we can import products to Channable, we can list them on Ball, we can use the repricer, we can order manage, but we can't advertise. So what we heard is that you want to be able to advertise but remain in control of these ads, automate the process at the same time, do it at scale, but also have some product-level data from these ads to actually use in the campaigns. Good start. So the second point is the market. So what we now see is that social and search ads are no longer the only two players. So we now have retail media that's entering the market. So currently our product for ads, we cover our paid search with our Bing and Google integrations. And then we also have our social integrations, such as our Meta integrations and our TikTok. And now we've decided to focus on retail media. So with retail media really becoming the next big thing, especially in America, but also now in Europe, we've now decided to focus on packing out this solution. So with Ball being the home market for us and also the market leader, and with so many clients, it was our first integration, as Leo said, it makes sense that we tackle Ball, which brings me to me. So you guys can just call me Tom. It's a bit of a extravagant name, I know. So, yeah. So who am I? So I joined Channable 6 months ago because they decided, okay, we need to really focus on our retail media solution. So that led to me. But previously, I actually worked at a startup that we tried to copy Channable. Didn't work out. Here I am. So couldn't beat them, so I joined them. And the first thing I did when I joined Channable was actually look at, okay, why should people use retail media? And again, also on top of that is, okay, well, why should they use Channable? So we looked at retail media and quickly discovered, okay, every retail media site is really, really becoming sort of a digital advertising space. So what this meant is that, okay, it's now a pay-to-play environment. So to actually advertise on these sites means to stay competitive. But to do that, we mentioned previously, it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of resource, and a lot of skill. And that's where we come in. So this is why you should use Channable, because we allow you to do all these ads for you, create, manage, optimize, review, and become successful. And what we've seen, the two statistics at the bottom, we've seen revenue increase on average by about 18%, but also time saved per week, roughly between 4 and 6 hours. So massive difference. So what does our tool do that allows you to do this? So it's actually threefold this. So we've got our campaign generator, which allows you to create, manage, use targets at scale to create these ads. But then we also have our new feature, And that's our automation rules. So by show of hands, and keep them up if you know our normal rules, the if-then rules to tidy your data. Okay, quite a few. Who sees value in them? Quite a few. So you'll love these then, because these are our new rules called automation rules. They sit in a different tab and a different section. And what they allow you to do is use the if-then rules that we already have, but this time for keyword metrics. So you choose the metrics, you choose the values for these, and we'll create actions based on this. So the third point is our bol.ads insights. So this is where we move from the keywords that the automation rules focus on to actual product level data. So we'll put that in our back pocket for now, because I just quickly want to go back into the first two topics, the campaign generator and the rules, automation rules. So looking at our campaign generator, so Bol mentioned that you've got two types of campaigns, and that's the automatic and manual. So we allow you to create both of these. And what it just means is that the automatic campaigns, Bol take care of all the positive targets. With the manual ones, you have control over those. But what you can also do is set up a campaign template. So this can be static or dynamic. And what we mean by dynamic is you can choose things such as the EAN, which is the unique product ID. So this means that all your campaigns that will be created from this generator are on product level. So you have a campaign per product. Or you can set it to brand or category, and then you'll have a campaign per category or brand. Next, you can choose the target. So you can select the country, which is Netherlands or Belgium. You can then choose the device breakpoint. So you've got 4 breakpoints: the mobile app, the tablet, the desktop, and also the website. And then you can also look at in terms of where do you want these ads to appear for an automatic campaign. So you can choose whether it's just within the search tab, or whether it's the category page, or the actual product detail page on Bol. And after this, you can set the budget. So things that allow you to do it at scale here, if you have a different budget requirement per product, you can select a dynamic fields, which will take the attribute that you have for that product and apply it to that product. And then in our campaign settings, we also have our positive and negative keyword selection, which again, you can use dynamic fields to select keywords, but you can also mix them with static fields to create new keywords, and also choose the match type. After this, you can then utilize our normal rules that will allow you to clean up your data or exclude certain things. And then you can actually preview the campaigns with our preview tab, just so before they go out, you can actually see what's going to happen. And then comes our automation rules. So what we're doing here with our automation rules, the key focus is on, okay, how do you optimize the keyword performance of your campaigns? And this process is known quite widely as keyword harvesting. Anyone know keyword harvesting, or not too sure? Okay, a few hands still down. So keyword harvesting is where you want to identify the high-performing keywords and also the low-performing keywords, and do actions such as move between a campaign. So you might want to move a keyword between an automatic campaign to a manual campaign with a bit higher budget. Or you might want to convert a keyword that's not really performing to a negative match, or just pause it altogether. So how can we put the tool into practice? So just go back to the smartphone example I gave at the start. So we have 20,000 products, over 100 campaigns. That's because we keep making single-use manual campaigns. We've then got to spend a lot of time on the performance and also creating actions based on these performances. And this process will just complete itself over and over again unless we have what's in the blue box here, automation for both the performance review, but also the campaign setup. So what can you do in our tool that kind of fixes this? So on screen, you'll see here a bit of an example. So we suggest creating a campaign, 3 campaigns at product level. But again, you can do this at category level, but it depends on your personal preference. But product level gives you more granular control over every single product. So you can set up 3 generators in the tool. You can have an automatic campaign generator, 1 manual campaign generator for the broad keywords, and then 1 manual campaign generator for the exact keywords. And then in the keyword line here, you can set your automation rules to move between the campaigns, pause the keywords, but also adjust the bids. So, okay, sounds a little bit complex, but actually you can set this whole structure up in about 4 minutes, which Jill will lovely play the video now to show you. So first, let's create our automatic campaign. So we'll just quickly go create automatic, give it the name automatic. And then we can go into our rules tab, say exclude products, clean up any data we might need to. But at the moment, let's not do that for the sake of this. We'll then go to our build stage, set up all the targets, choose EAN as the campaign template because we want this on product level. Budgets, again, we can edit if we need to, but I've got 5 products in my import. So in the preview tab, I shall now see 5 campaigns there. So one generator's made 5 campaigns already. But now we need our manual broad keyword campaign. So what we'll do is we'll go quickly all the way back to the campaign tab. We'll add another generator, and this time we'll call this one manual broads, but we'll select the manual targeting type. And we'll jump straight to the build stage again, because we don't want to use rules in this. And here we can now enter keywords, because it's a manual campaign. So let's add in a dynamic keyword, so say with brand, and we'll give it the phrase match type, broad phrase, and click save. Go back to our campaign tab for the other manual campaign we want to create. This will be manual exact. And in the build stage, again, we'll leave everything the same. But what we've done here is create 3 generators, 5 import products, remember, 3 times 5, after we've added our keywords as well, with the exact match type. Don't forget that part. But 3 times 5, in our preview tab, we should see 15 campaigns. So within 4 minutes, we're creating 15 campaigns, which the screen will tell you now. There we go, 15 campaigns in the preview tab. So these aren't active yet. We'd have to activate them in the settings tab again. But now we want to set up some automation rules as well. So we want to move keywords between these 3 campaign generators we've made. So what we can do, if we go into our keyword targeting tab, we'll create click rule group, and this will look very similar to the normal rules that you guys have seen. We'll give it a name from automatic campaign. I want to move to my broad campaigns, the keywords that are high performing. So select the generator it's from, select the date range we want to measure the data. We'll then actually create the rule. So as you can see, very similar to before. So let's say, okay, if the ACOS of a keyword is less than 25, let's move this to our manual broad campaign. And we'll give it the match type of broad. So that's for a good performing keyword, but if there's a low performing keyword, we might want to convert it to a negative. So give a new rule, convert to negative, and again, select the generator it's from, and then we'll create the rule logic for this. So we want to say, okay, if my ACOS is actually greater than, say, around 55, let's convert this to negative. So we'll stop targeting that keyword. And then you'd need to do that if you wanted to move it to an exact. You can do it again, but just change it to the exact campaign. But you might want to increase the bids in your exact campaign. So if you want to increase the bid, it's very simple again. Let's call this one increase bid. This time choose the exact generator. And then again, create the logic. So ACOS is the topic today. So if my ACOS is less than, let's say, 20, I think that's performing quite well, then actually increase the bid by about 20%, obviously your choice, with a max bid of €3. So that video took me 3 minutes and 55 seconds to record. So that's how quick you can set up this strategy. And what have we actually done? So if we go back to our scenario we had, we've broken the cycle with our product. So what we've done, we've enabled the bulk campaign management and made it scalable to create multiple campaigns. We've automated the review process because our rules will automatically look at all the data for you. We've then automated the triggers. You give us the rule, we'll make it happen, which in turn has led to a better structure, and a better ad structure gives us more optimal structure, but reduced management time and also decreased human error. So what have our beta testers said from this? So one beta tester saw a ROAS increase by double, but also said this lovely quote along the bottom. So before automation, the process was a nightmare, but now it's actually a breeze. And another tester said that, yeah, the time spent now is so much lower. Setting up campaigns is really fast, as you've seen. And also, once the rules are set up, it's just a complete time saver. So that's really great feedback, which proves that we've addressed the problem that we really wanted to sort out. So let's take insights out the back pocket now. So we've obviously got our campaign setup and our automation rules. But here's the third part of the tool, which is really great. So automation rules is tackling keywords, but we want to move away from keywords metrics now to product level data. So this is what our insights board does. So we have a lovely dashboard here, which shows you all of the metrics for performance of keywords per product, performance of products, not keywords, so per product. So we've got metrics such as conversion, clicks, CPC, ACOS, ROAS, you name it, we've got it. And then we've also got something, a little bit of automation in here as well. So with the insights, we don't just collect the product data, but we also order it for you. So you can select 2 metrics to make this lovely grid on the left-hand side, and that will order your products into 4 different buckets, which you'll see on the right-hand side. So all your products in the middle, some are performing well, some are low, some are okay, and some really need improvement. And what we do is automatically sort those for you and give them a label. So we've got our star performers, obviously doing the best, our potentials, so okay, but could do a bit better, our invisibles, which, okay, on one metric they're okay, but they really need some work, and then our underperformers, which need some serious look into. So, okay, we've given you all this data, we've told you what's doing well, what's not doing well. What can you do with that? You've got to go back to the campaign generator, put in all the rules to clean up this data, but one by one for product. But actually, no. So what we've done is allow you to use the metrics within the rules. So you can simply just create one rule for the campaign generator, saying if my ROAS for a product is less than 200, exclude it from the campaign. And then with the segmentation, we've also done the same. So if the segment is equal to star performer, say you just wanted a manual campaign to focus on just the star performers, then you can do that too, and just simply exclude any products that aren't star performers. So that's the product as it is now with those 3 aspects, the campaign generator, the automation rules, and the insights. But what's coming up next? So we're constantly looking to improve it. And what we've noticed from the beta test is the top feedback was for ad groups. So currently, we only create 1 ad group per campaign with 1 ad, but we've heard that people want to be able to create multiple ad groups per campaign, so we're currently looking into that. Next, you want to be able to upload keyword lists to further make it scalable, to quicker create campaigns with all the keywords associated to certain products. And then on our manual campaigns, currently only our automatic campaigns allow you to choose the products and category targets. We just allow search. So manual campaigns, we're looking to bring in all 3. And then the setup that I showed you, whilst it only takes 4 minutes, we think we can make it even easier for you. So we're actually going to create a recommended mode, which is just a template. You switch it on. We'll create the free generators. We'll create the automation rules. You just put in the metrics and also your budget, and there it is ready for you. And then the next thing is organic ranking later on in the year. So what we've heard, okay, is that on Bol, if you win the bid to sponsor your product, you'll actually lose your organic ranking in terms of your product will only appear once. So what we're focusing on there is, okay, well, maybe you want to set up a rule in automation that says, I don't really need to advertise this product because it's already at the top. So if my organic ranking is above 3, pull the ad. And then further to that is everyone's favorite word over the last few years, and that's AI keywords. So we're currently working on a product that allows you to generate keywords based on AI, which will make it even easier for you to find keywords for your products. So aside from that, how is Channable actually different? So one of the reasons is our support. We love to talk about our support because it is amazing. We've got a dedicated support team specifically for the Benelux, and their experience in this market is second to none. But also now, with Bol Ads and Bol Insights, we now offer end-to-end. So if you don't sell on Bol, you now can do it all within Channable. You can come in, import your products, map the products, list the products, manage the orders, and then review the performance of the campaigns that you've made from your adverts. And then just some things to note. Leo mentioned them earlier, but we actually helped, we collaborated with Bol in the development of their new environment, which means our product is made solely from scratch around their new environment. And that means we're also the first integrator to launch a product on the new environment, and we're now a gold partner in both the marketplace integrations and in the ad side of things. So before I walk off, in terms of what we've spoken about today, the 4 takeaway message, really. So first of all, we've created a campaign generator that allows you to create scalable ads. Second, we've automated the process for the reviewing. Third, we've now given you product-level data to review the performance of your ad as well. And fourth, on average, 18% increase in revenue, but also about 4 or 6 hours saved per week making these ads. So Leo, I'll hand it back over to you. If you scan the QR code, by the way, you'll be taken to a landing page, a bit more information. And then after the break, we're going to be launching the product.
Yes. Thomas, stay with me for a second.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you
No
so
worries.
much. You did really great, by the way.
Thank you.
So I know, like we rehearsed this so well, right? And then Murphy's Law happens, and
It's just a shame the computer didn't want to play its part, but it's okay.
It's okay. It was really amazing. So there are a lot of startups that are copying Channable. Huh?
Yeah, quite a few.
Okay,
Yeah.
I did not know about that,
Yeah.
but you found them.
Yeah.
Nice. Or actually, maybe not so nice. But actually, there was one question that I know that always comes up with new product launches in general, and maybe that's interesting for the Ball Ads launch as well. Do I need to have a minimum number of products or SKUs for that solution to work? What would you say?
There's not really a guided minimum. I mean, what we hear in terms of from clients, I mean, our clients have a varied amount of products, but anyone that tends to have over 25 products within their import, that tends to be where it starts to kind of get a little bit more support is needed to manage. So around 25 tends to be the cutoff.
25 up into the millions then, I guess, right?
Course,
so there's almost no ending. Well, Thomas, thank you so much. After the break, you will join us our Q&A as well.
Yep.
And I'm looking forward to this as well. Thank you.
Cheers, Rob.
Thomas, ladies and gentlemen. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Quickly let people come back in, and then we can start with our second half. All right, now is the moment we, or at least our product development team, I think, have been waiting for. We will launch the feature, our product Ball Ad solution, live in the tool and officially, like in the world, basically. As you can see, we have a launch button here. And actually, true story. So during their rehearsal, they just told me, well, you know, we have to press the button to start and then run off stage as fast as you can. So like, I'm not sure if I'm excited or a bit scared what's about to happen. I honestly don't know. But it is also not me who is pressing the button. I would like to invite actually the product development team on stage because they put in the sleepless nights. Yes, big round of applause. You put in the effort, the coding, the sleepless nights, sweat and tears. Come around the button, guys. But I understand only one person is pressing it, right? Oh, who is it? So TJ, you have the honor.
I have the honor. Yes.
How nervous are you, to be honest? You know, don't worry, it's just us and a couple of customers, so it can be.
You know, the customers are all fine, and as a developer, I'm used to pressing a lot of buttons.
You don't have a microphone, by the way. I'm so sorry. You are not mic'd up, but anyway, I think we can hear you.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Yeah.
And I mean, like I said, I'm used to pressing buttons, but this one does look.
But that's a bit bigger than the coding buttons. Oh, okay. And how many sleepless nights did you guys actually all endure? You're also here.
I think for like a year and a half, like every night.
Yeah.
Basically.
Oh, okay. But you look good for that, to be honest.
Yeah,
so that's amazing. Okay, now. The way we're going to do this now, and I need a little bit your help and basically everybody in the room. So you can make yourself ready over the button, so not that you miss it. I would don't wait. I need to give you the instructions. So what I would like to do, ladies and gentlemen, is that we all count down from 3, 2, 1, and then we say ball. And when we say ball, you press the button.
Okay.
Deal? Okay. Deal. Okay, but don't miss it, okay? Okay, is everybody with me? Everybody is in? Okay, everybody is ready? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Ball Ads will be launched in 3, 2, 1, ball!
Succeeding on Bowl requires more than simply listing your products. However, managing this can be time and resource intensive, especially if you're managing numerous products or frequently changing inventory. Introducing Channable's Bowl Ad Solution. Bowl is the leading e-commerce marketplace in the Netherlands and Belgium, so selling on Bowl can help you to tap into these markets. By directly linking the search terms of your customers to your items, You increase the visibility of your products in the search results, making your items even more visible. On average, advertisers seen an impressive 18% increase in total revenue from campaigns with sponsored products in the past year. Now adding Channable with Bull has even greater benefits. By easily creating thousands of ads from your product listings, automate your ads with powerful rules and keyword strategies, and optimize your ad campaigns based on performance data. Doing all of this is as easy by just linking your Bull connection. To our all-in-one e-commerce suite, we have all the tools for you to be successful. Try our Bull ad solution for free.
All right. So, I'm going to put this away, not that we are accidentally pressing it again. And now, it's also a bit time for you guys to ask questions. And for our Q&A session, I would like to first of all invite our speakers back up. And we have also Ronan Franzen with us from Amazing Agency. So please, guys, come back on stage. I'm going to quickly arrange a bit that there is not too much of a gap. So welcome all. All right, choose a seat. Choose a seat. So, well done. Now, Ronan, I have to address you first because you are a new face for the audience. And you have been, of course, a beta tester for Bull now, for a Channable Bull ad solution. So we are very happy to have you. Would you like to just introduce yourself a little bit and give the audience an idea what Amazing Agency does?
Yep. My name is Ronan. I'm from Amazing Agency, part of Tomorrow Man. We're a marketplace agency that helps brands and sellers or marketplaces to start or to grow. And we had the opportunity to test the Channable ad solution and to give feedback to Thomas and its team
nice.
To help you guys develop it.
And like we heard so much about old environment, new environment. Like, can you take us maybe a little bit through that transition from old to new? Like, how did that work for you guys?
Yeah, so we were all very used to Mabaya. I think you all guys are very used to Mabaya. So transitioning to the new system of Bull was took some time to get used to. But I think all the information provided on forehand by Bull, all the conversations we had with them, helped us to understand the new system, the new algorithm, to carry on with the campaigns in a good way. But of course, the first few weeks in July, when the first accounts went to the new system, were very exciting. And I think the upcoming months will tell us more and more about how the new system is working.
Yeah, yeah. And how was the onboarding? Like, was the onboarding on the new like solution? Was it okay? Was it relatively?
Yeah, I think Bull did well. They have like the 4 major checks in the accounts that you needed to do. So the campaigns, the different types of campaigns you had, were migrated well into the new account. So I think the migration went well. And the first day was exciting to see at what time the campaigns were going active in the new account. But I think everything went well.
Yeah. And well, so we got actually a lot of questions from you guys up front, and there's a very similar question that we got. Actually, twice we got that question regarding the new algorithm and in how far does it affect the buyer journey. Can you say anything about that as well?
Yeah, of course, it's a new system. It's Bull's own tool with a new algorithm. And in the beginning, we saw a lot of campaigns in different accounts that were struggling to reach their previous level or their previous performance. But I think that's normal because the new algorithm needed to learn and gather data. But I think now the first accounts that were migrated into the new system are getting back on their previous level again. Because the algorithm is getting smarter.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
It may need some time to...
It will learn for sure, yeah. We actually got a very similar question about the algorithm for Pauline and Yasmin. So how will paid versus organic ads show in the search results with the new sponsored products algorithm?
Yeah, so that's actually the same as it was in the old environment. So for the customers that come onto Bol, actually nothing has changed. So they still see first few ads and then organic results. So yeah, that doesn't change anything.
Okay, okay. And like maybe like a follow-up question, but a little bit similar to the question I actually asked Thomas about the stock levels for products. So is there any recommended stock level from your side, not from Channable side, but from your Bol ad side, in order to run successful sponsored product ads?
Yeah, so we always advise to just have enough stock. But yeah, what enough is, that is always hard for us to determine. But yeah, for example, when you have when you sell normally 10 a day and you still have organically and you have 10 in stock, then of course sponsoring will not help that much. But yeah, make sure that you have enough extra that you can use for sponsored products.
That makes a lot of sense. Yes. If I turn and look into the audience, is there anyone who has a burning question to our panel in the meantime? Yes, in the front, we have a microphone. Jill is coming to you.
Thank you so much. My question is for you. I'm sorry, I forgot your name.
Thomas.
Thomas, yes, Thomas. So I have a question for you. Do you have any insight into a scenario I'm about to paint? So let's say you have a product on Bol, which is on the first page. And obviously it's on the first page because people like the product, right? So if you don't use sponsored products for it, you will. What I've noticed is, of course, obviously you will go down in the organic ranking. But let's say I put in 15 euros, it will kind of stay up in the first page and it will do well. But what if I put like 40 or 50 euros into it? Then it might even raise on the first page, but then your organic ranking is kind of maybe useless because all day it's in sponsored products. So is there maybe any insight you have into this, or maybe Channable will come up with some solution to see for each product how much sponsored product euros you need every day to kind of like have an in-between, so your organic search is not like useless.
Yeah, so we're still actually shaping the organic ranking tool that we want to kind of bring in. So it's definitely a good question and a good point to make in terms of, okay, when is it actually optimal to decide I want a sponsored product, ad placement, or an organic rank? So it's definitely something that we need to look into in that discovery phase. So I'll definitely come to you afterwards and sort of talk more a bit about the scenario. And yeah, we always use the customer voice to actually shape our features. So it'll be very important to talk to you, but also other people to talk about that and what we actually can do around that.
All right, thank you.
Awesome. Any other question from the audience? Yes, over there. The microphone is coming.
Thank you. I'm very curious about the time frame you're using to analyze the data. Is it like 14 days, 30 days, and how do you handle seasonality? Because some products sell well in July, again in December, but not in between. So how do you analyze the data to optimize the biddings, etc.?
Yeah, so at the moment we actually have 3 settings in the automation rules, so you can choose as little as 7 days, then 14 days in the middle, and then 30 days. But we also have had a request from one of our customers to actually utilize it for 90 days, so we're looking into quickly bringing in your sort of manual range that you might want to use. In terms of seasonality, we're also going to look into a feature next year more around day parting, which will probably be something that looks into that issue there around that.
Yes, good question, thank you. And actually, just your neighbor.
Yeah, that was a good question, but I was also wondering, is it maybe also an interesting idea to add, for example, clicks? Because some products take a longer, or there's low search volume, in certain periods of times. And if you base it off a conversion rate, then X amount of clicks, you need a conversion. Is it maybe interesting to add that, or is that maybe already a possibility?
For the automation rules? Yeah, so with the automation rules in the drop-down, there's actually loads of metrics that you can select. So clicks is one of them, CPC, ROAS, ACOS, which we use in the example, but there's quite a lot of things there. Basically, anything we collect at product level on the insights dashboard will also be in that automation rules section.
Nice,
so ACOS just isn't the only thing you can use.
Perfect.
Nice. Perfect. Do I see any other hands? Like Thomas, I have actually a very similar question to those 2 questions. And you were introducing, of course, the timeline and the improvements that are coming up. But is Channable, looking like a bit further ahead, is Channable expanding the tool to a complete advertising solution similar to Perpetua? Ask somebody.
Yeah.
What's the plan?
Yeah, so we're constantly trying to add ways that actually allow you to streamline the setup process. So we're currently looking into ad groups for that, which we mentioned. But also when it comes to optimizing the ads, that we know there's a lot of features that maybe are going to be beneficial, and day parting being one of them.
Yeah.
So we're constantly looking at ways to also automate the review process, but add in new ways to actually optimize the performance of the ads.
Yeah. That makes sense. Perfect. Ronan, back to you quickly. Because in our preparation, we saw that you guys are also working with quite advanced setups and campaign setups, and also with multiple data inputs and imports. And somebody was curious if you can share maybe a bit of an example or a use case of those more advanced setups and how they work in Bol and the Bol Ads campaigns.
Yep. Channable offers many imports, so we can combine a lot of performance data from your Bol account, or even your organic ranking data, also the part that Thomas already talked about. When you combine that data into an input data for your advertising setup for Bol, you can automatically select the products that you want to include in your sponsored product ads, and select your products that you want to exclude from your products. So for example, your top organic performers you maybe want to keep as an organic performer, and you want to push other products on top of the page. So it will be more visible on the whole search results.
Yeah.
But you can also think of setups where you use weather information, that if you think that when it's raining people will buy more, that during the rainy days that you will automatically raise your CPCs, for example.
Yeah, exactly. Which is what you can, of course, do with our rules, right? So you can automate this entire setup. And regarding, there's another question regarding any tips for, and I guess this is actually generally meant, any tips for agencies and sellers that will make the switch in the coming weeks? Just general tips. What could you give them
I think
on their journey?
The last accounts were migrated last week, so a general tip is maybe to wait and to give the system a little bit time to gather the data and to make conclusions. But I think the best tip I can give is to look into the Channable advertising solution, to use the new things and think of new ideas and strategies, but also to automate your manual things that you did before, because Channable can take that out of your hands. So you have more time to think of new setups with new input data.
Yeah, absolutely. Any more hands? Any more questions? Yes, in the front here.
Yeah, thank you. Is it on? Yeah. Cool. So we saw this nice and shiny new dashboard. Will any of that data become available via the Channable API as well?
So that I don't know. So Insights is actually managed by a different product manager, which is Marina, just sat over there. So if you ask her that question, I'm sure she'll know it off by heart.
Okay, no to Marina.
Oh, I meant afterwards. Sorry, not now.
No, but afterwards, you can connect, of course, and exchange. Actually, Thomas, another question, and that's probably also on a lot of people's mind. The pricing for the new Bol ad solution.
Yeah.
How does that look like?
Yeah, so for the campaign manager and automation rules, we've got a different pricing depending on the size of the company. But if you're a medium-sized business, which we rank at around 5,000 products, the standard package, which means that if you have just one marketplace selected, so if you just have Bol, then it's around 41. And then if you need more than one, so if you're already selling on Google or Amazon and you want to add Bol, it's around 70, 72.
Got it, 70, 72.
And that obviously goes up with the size of the company.
Yeah, got it. All right. One more look into the audience. It seems to be all clear. No more questions. I got another question for you, Thomas, actually. So people were very interested in our new solution. So Bol provided the advice on structuring campaigns at the category level, right? And I think you have the recommendation to structure it at the product level. Can you explain the difference in those two approaches?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's just a little bit of personal preference difference, to be honest. It's how much do you actually want per product. So if you don't actually care too much about having control under a product level, then you can also already use brand as a sort of thing to do it, or even the category. But if you want ultimate control over, full max control over all products, then doing it at EAN level, that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, yeah, got it, okay. Yasmin and Pauline, you shared actually in the presentations a lot of tips and tricks. And maybe I have a bit of similar question than to Ronan. So what general tips and like recommendations would you give to an agency or to a seller who wants to start now using the new API in the next coming weeks? Like what would you say is like one of those general points that you want to?
Yeah, so I think also the same as Ronan said, so important to let it run for some time. Now it's been running for a week or for some maybe longer. But then also further optimizing and before you exclude items, for example, really see if you can make the most out of that. And also, I think when you set up new campaigns, it's always useful to set up an automatic campaign so you can really see how it's running. And then after a while, let it run manual so you can have better control over the outcome.
Yeah, but if you have like a big account, then of course the API tool is the solution to do that the good way and also helps you to save some time. We know that Q4 is coming up. It's around the corner. We're doing all the preparation already. So I think it's a good moment to do some automation to make sure that you will save yourself some time when that quarter is coming.
So anything at scale, basically, if you're dealing with a lot of campaigns, a lot of products, then of course, you're looking at the solution as well.
Yeah.
Awesome. Any more questions to our panel? Yes. We have actually two more. I think the gentleman in the red shirt was first.
Thank you. A feedback point to Bol.com, and also very curious about the solution from Amazing Agency. Losing the organic position in the first place when you're advertising. I think I speak for a lot of advertisers that it feels pretty unfair that you've worked hard for organic position and you lose it because you're advertising. So I'm very curious about the solution that Channable is developing. And even more interested in how Amazing Agency already solves that problem by importing external data or something. Could you tell me a bit more about how you're doing that?
So maybe first Ronan, then Thomas.
I think using like the retail API from Bol itself, you can gather the ranking data out of your Bol portal. We can also use other external tooling to get the data, but also like Thomas mentioned that at the end of this year, Channable will also have like the input data about your organic rankings, so you can automatically use it within a Channable field.
Yeah, that's right. So we had a couple of questions about it from the beta, and we've already started communications with Bol to understand how we go about collecting the organic ranking directly from Bol, because we know there's a lot of third parties out there provide it, but we were told by these two clients that it's actually not that accurate. So they found on Bol, they had the true ranking, and then actually these third parties were maybe a couple of days behind in terms of their accurate data. So we need to make sure that if we're going to bring this feature out, one, that it's actually accurate and that it's usable in the tool.
I thought the plan was at the end of this year, right?
At the end of this year, yeah. Q4 is targeted for. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
It's actually quite soon, right? So Q4.
Yeah.
That is just around the corner. Yeah. Yes, and we
get ready, developers.
My question was a little bit related to other one, but maybe I had a question for Pauline. Maybe you can explain how like the organic ranking is set up with the new ads feature.
How do you mean? Like if the organic ranking is impacted by
is something changed or?
So I'm not really like knowledgeable about the whole algorithm, organic and ads, but they now are working together. But for the organic ranking, it didn't really change. So the only thing that changed is that the ads algorithm is now also our own algorithm.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. All right. Thomas, actually, does somebody need a Bol API to the marketplace to run ads?
No, no. So ads and the marketplace API integration is completely separate. So if you're using another party or just want to manually upload it through a sheet or Excel, you can do that. You just need the Bol ad solution.
So you just upload the data, you go to our PPC tool, and then you can use Bol ads, basically, and then you send the campaign structure and everything through the API to Bol. All right, then I would say last chance to ask any more questions. Otherwise, of course, we will still be around. And yeah, then I would say thank you so much to all our speakers and to Ronan. And we will start with the networking and the drinks and the cheers. So please feel free to go to the bar. Oh, and I have, because Anne is giving me a sign, we have a photo booth also just in the next room. Please feel free to make some nice photos, upload it on LinkedIn, be cool with it. But otherwise, I would like to thank you so much for joining and have a very good rest of the day. Thank you, guys.